Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to day 12 of the 10-year YouTube celebration. On the last one, I talked about that time that I rebranded, but only kinda. And this one, if I was going chronologically, for the most part, this one should have been about that time I did a Tomb Raider 2018 movie review, but I want to actually go back and watch that video in full, see what I talked about, and see what my original talking points were and how I felt about it at the time. So I want to do a little bit more with it. So I'm going to postpone that just by a little bit, and we're going to move on to when Tyson and I sat down together and did a little game that I called We Guess Songs from Our Favorite Bands in 60 Seconds. So the We Guess Songs video was a really fun idea that I basically ripped straight from John from ARTV. It was something he did with a couple of other music creators, and I just thought it was a really cool video. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and I wanted to see if Tyson and I could do something together. So I remember back in early 2019, I just sent Tyson a text and said, "Hey, I got this cool idea from another creator about trying to guess songs from our favorite band in a time limit." And I said, if you want to do it, just create a list of what you would say your top 6 favorite bands are. And again, top 6, because that's my thing. 6 is my lucky number, one of my favorite numbers, and it's the number that, like I talked about in a previous day of the 10-year celebration, when I started doing list videos, the rare time I put one out, I count down from 6. So yeah, that's my thing. So I kept that going and worked it into this. We both had our top 6 favorite bands, and since at the time I knew we'd have at least a tiny bit of overlap, I said that, well, I didn't say it, but it was almost like just instinctually implied that if one of us got a certain band that we both had in common at the time, then that other couldn't get it. Which I think the only band that we shared might have been, I think the only band we shared was actually 3 Days Grace, I think, at the time. But yeah, so we ended up sitting down, we did 3 rounds, technically Tyson did 4, but, and I like the video a lot. I don't love the original version of it, because, like, it's way longer than it needs to be. It's 22.5 minutes. There's a bunch of dead air, me stumbling over my words, failing to explain how things work. And yeah, it's just way longer than it needs to be. There's also a dumb shoehorned in punishment that I've thought about this before, but neither one of us liked the punishment. Neither one of us wanted to do it. It was just, at the time, I thought it'd be funny if there was a punishment, because in the video from John on his channel, those guys had their own punishment. So I was like, okay, like, we can do that. Like, it'll be fun. But then, literally, the only punishment idea either one of us could come up with was taking a full-fledged wrestling chop from the other. And neither one of us wanted to do it, but it was a dumb idea. I said, not even being entirely serious. Tyson okayed it, but he didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but we did it anyway. I hated that. I hated it a lot. I hated that punishment. It sucked. Even though, like, I was pretty confident, I knew I was going to win. Even if on camera I generally was nervous throughout some of the rounds. But that's because, like, being on camera with a time limit like that, it just creates nerves anyway. But yeah. But, like, I ended up just freely giving Tyson a 4th round anyway, letting him, like, I personally chose for him to use 30 Days Grace anyway, his favorite band, even at that time. They weren't my favorite band anymore at that time either, I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah, I don't know. I was already so far ahead with points, he was struggling, and I just wanted to make it more interesting. I don't know if we actually would have done a punishment at the time, if he would have come back and won, but I just wanted to have a bit more fun, keep it going, and make it a bit more interesting, so I was like, just go. Just do 30 Days Grace and see how far you can get, you know? And he did really well. Him naming 30 Days Grace songs in that extra round, and he ended up naming the most songs of any band throughout the rounds, even more than me, you know? Because the most I named, I want to say, was like 18, I want to say, or something like that, from the band Fozzy, which at the time I was a big fan of because Chris Jericho was my favorite wrestler, and I got really into Fozzy after reading his second book, Undisputed. I don't really like Fozzy that much anymore. I do think they still have some good songs though. But yeah, so that was a thing. Like I said, I just wanted to keep it going a little bit longer, just see how far Tyson can go with freely being able to name songs from his favorite band within the time limit, and he did really well for that. And I think it was more fun, and I just kind of wish that we could have got rid of that punishment, and obviously just for me to have edited it better, which is precisely what I did last year, a couple years ago. I don't remember when exactly I did that re-upload of it, but yeah, years later from that point, I did a re-upload of it where I cut it down by, I guess officially, like 7 minutes, cutting out all the dead air. I cut out all the dead air, the dumb punishment, made things flow a bit better, and even added a bit of like present day or then present day me footage where I explain things a little bit more as well. So yeah, even with that extra footage, it was still 7 minutes shorter. So the re-upload is definitely like the way to watch that. But still, it was a video I like. I still like what we were going for. I like what we did. I think we could do it easily better now, and I would like to do something like it again, personally. I don't know if I'd want to do the exact same thing or change it up a little bit, but I would love to do something similar because it's still a cool idea, and we had a lot of fun with it. So yeah. But I don't have much else to say. That was the We Guess Songs video from back in 2019, and then re-upload of it from just a couple years ago. So yeah, that was that. Like I said, I don't have much else to say. There we go. I hope to see you for day number 13. But until then, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.